Oh,
It was me.
oh,
It was
hi.
Lauren.
Oh, hi, Lauren.
Hi. So I'm going to start recording our meeting now, everyone. Full disclosure. And then I'll turn it over to Sam.
Sure, I just got an email from Sandra, so just give me one. She might be trying to join. But other than that, we have quorum. So yeah, so you're good to start. Debbie, Sandra is unable to make it, so we're good to go.
Okay, good afternoon. I would like to welcome all members to the October 26, 2022 Accessibility Advisory Committee meeting. To ensure your phones are on silent mode, and if you're joining virtually, use the Microsoft Teams raise hand feature icon to be called up and to remove it after you're finished speaking. Please also keep your camera on, mute your microphone when not speaking, and of course, remember to unmute your. With that, I call the October 26, 2022 Accessibility Advisory Committee meeting to order. Are there any declarations of none? I guess none. Approval of the agenda and changes to the agenda.
We will need a mover and a seconder to approve the agenda there, Debbie.
Yep. May I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So I think Councillor Huffman might have been first as the mover, and David could be the seconder there, I would say.
Okay, yeah. All in favor? Okay. Approval of previous minutes. We have the following regular minutes before us today. The first is the AAC minutes of July 27th, 2022. Unless there's any error or omissions, may I have a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
So it looks like Bev is moved and David Horton has seconded that.
All in favor? Opposed? We're following special minutes before us today, the AAC minutes of August 3rd. Unless there's any error, a motion to approve the minutes as presented. And that was David Terry. Is he the one who raised his hand?
Yeah, it was close. I think Councillor Huffman might have been first, but David could certainly be the seconder.
All in favor? Opposed? We don't have any deputations today. We don't have any items and staff reports. Accessibility street signage. Sam, would you like to introduce the report?
Sure, thanks a lot, Debbie. So the draft policy CS54 AOP number 10, AOP stands for Accessibility Operating Procedures. The accessible street signage is in front of the AAC today for a consultation and comment. The purpose of this policy is to provide guidance relating to signage requests received for children and individuals living with disabilities in various Norfolk County neighborhoods. The intent of the signage is to provide heightened awareness and warn drivers that they are approaching a residence in Norfolk County where a person with a disability resides. I'm going to share my screen and just show the committee the application that we've worked on, and then I'll give you an idea of what the actual signs will look like as well. Let me just see here. Teams doesn't want to cooperate with me. There we go. Okay, so in a couple moments, you should see the signage application in front of you there. We pulled a lot of this information. I was working with the city of Niagara Falls, actually, and I worked with them to kind of develop a similar application to what they have in place. This is draft, so you'll notice there's some empty areas here. I just didn't want to put in check marks and fillable areas if we did have some proposed changes. So it is draft in nature. This form section will be fillable. And then I'll zoom in a little bit just if it's on a smaller screen for everyone. So the signage will consist of the universal symbol of accessibility and then an affiliated tab below that sign identifying the individual living with a disability in the area. And again, just acting as a warning sign and hopefully to provide some heightened awareness for drivers running through that area. So the policy is also attached. I hope the committee had an opportunity to review it. I can also read the recommendation, but otherwise I'd be happy to answer any questions that the committee may have. So the recommendation reads that the Accessibility Advisory Committee support CS54 AOP 10, the accessible street signage policy, and affiliated accessible street signage application form that I just showed the group. But with that, I'd certainly be more than happy to answer any questions that the committee has. We've received a couple requests from members of the public. That's kind of where this came from. It didn't just, kind of come out of nowhere. And in consulting with some other municipalities, this is kind of where we landed. So I'd be happy to answer any questions at this point in time.
Any questions of the committee? I have a question. How would you request one of the signs? You would just go into offices?
Yeah, so the form will be available on our website. It'll be fillable online, and we'll also have copies at our customer service locations. We anticipate more likely that we'll get the applications online. At the bottom of the form, there's our generic accessibility email inbox that myself and Lauren monitor. We have the applications going into that inbox.
Sam,
then-
it's Dave Horton here. I didn't get any of your visuals on my screen, so I'm
Okay,
not knowing what I'm supposed to be looking at.
no worries. So it was attached in the original agenda. I apologize, you guys didn't see it. So I'll maybe just verbally, I can run through the application. I'll just kind of explain what it outlines. And if you have any comments or concerns, we can kind of go from there. So it's pretty generic in that we're looking for applicant information. So that would include name, address, town, province, postal code, their phone number, and their email. Is the sign intended for the applicant or a child or children under the primary care of the applicant? Does the person the sign is intended for reside at the above address? Yes or no? And so that sign I can kind of hopefully explain to you is the universal symbol of accessibility. So an individual in a wheelchair, the same you would see on an accessible parking spot, in yellow, a yellow background with a black foreground. And then the tabs that would go below it, it would really be a singular tab. So it could be autistic person area, blind person area, deaf person area, depending on what that applicant shares with us through the form. And then there's just some notes on the second page that outline the location of the sign will be determined through a site review. Generally, one sign will be installed per direction about 100 meters in advance of the address. You would be required to contact the Accessibility and Special Projects Department if there are any changes that would require the signs to be changed or removed, such as a change in address, etc. Accessibility and Special Projects staff will contact you either by phone or email on an annual basis to verify that the sign is still required for the persons residing at the above noted address. If we do not receive a response from you, we will mail or hand deliver a letter to the applicant's address as a final notice. The sign will be removed if an acknowledgement is not received within 30 days of the date of the letter. And then the last one, please be advised that the sign has no legal status under the Ontario Highway Traffic Act. By signing and submitting this application, you acknowledge that the sign is informational only and is not to be construed as a device to protect persons from vehicular traffic. and then it's just an opportunity for signature and date, and then, as I said, the email address for which the application can be addressed. And it was a part of the agenda package. If you could pop it up and take a look at it as well. But I see both Bev and Councillor Huffman have a question. I'm not sure who was first. I was reading.
Councillor Huffman is first.
Okay. You can go ahead, Councillor Huffman, if you have a question.
Thank you. Through you, I guess my one comment would be where we have the line about whether this is for a child or children living in the home. I guess my concern is that there could be an adult, it could be an adult quote child of the applicant who's applying for. So I'm just wondering if we could play with the wording a little bit there, because we do have quite a few adults with disabilities who are still living in the familial home.
Yeah, that's a great point. We can have that added maybe as an additional checkbox option. Yep, that's a great point. Bev?
My point's also about language. Could we have persons with hearing loss and persons with vision loss rather than impairment?
Yep, that's good feedback as well. I can include that and have the verbiage changed for sure.
Any questions? Do I have a motion to support the CS 54 AOP-10 accessibility streets policy and affiliated street accessible street signage application form?
Looks like Bev is moving it there. And
Seconder.
David, looks like David Horton is seconded.
Any debate on the motion on the floor? All.
Kind of cut out on us, Debbie, but I think she asked all in favor.
Yeah.
Right, looks like everyone.
Okay.
And actually 7.2, Debbie, the accessible on-street parking, Talbot Street and Simcoe, we're actually going to defer that item. Yeah, I'm still working with staff on clarifying some details around the street itself, and some information about an alleyway or a laneway that's close that may impact the decision and the conversation. So we're actually going to defer that to our next meeting. So we will move on from that. You're muted there, Debbie.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Review consultation opportunity. So
Yeah, so sorry, Debbie, to cut you off there. I can go ahead. So I just wanted to include this as information. So in January of 2022, the Government of Ontario appointed Rich Donovan to complete the 4th review of the AODA. Rich is an entrepreneur and a globally recognized subject matter expert on the convergence of disability and user experience. They've outlined that the scope of the review will include the following considerations. So the effectiveness and evolution of the AODA, building awareness and community support, and compliance and enforcement incentives. So there's an upcoming virtual town hall on November 8th that anyone is welcome to attend. Alternatively, or additionally, there's an opportunity to provide feedback at any time at their website. So I'll be sure to share that with this group, and we're also going to have a social media post go out as well, just for members of our committee, or members of the public, excuse me, to have an opportunity to provide comment. So I just wanted to kind of let the committee know that that was open for comment, but just thought it was a better fit probably in the new business area there.
So do I have to?
Nope, just it's really just to let everyone know we don't have to necessarily do anything with that item.
Okay. We have no other.
Not that I can see.
May I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Looks like Bev and Councillor Huffman has seconded.
All in favor? I take it nobody's opposed. The meeting adjourned at 1:17 p.m. That's what my computer says.
You got it. Thanks, everyone. Have a good afternoon.
Yeah, you too.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye, Kim.
Thanks, guys. Great
Bye.
to see you.